Hello, everyone. Welcome to this masterclass. I hope you enjoy it. So, if you have ever felt overlooked for promotions, despite having a super strong track record, if you felt drained from doing all the right things, but still not getting noticed, or maybe that you lost your spark in your career growth and momentum, or if you've ever wanted more clarity on what it takes to finally feel seen and heard and move forward in your career with confidence, you are in the right place. Why do you need to hear this today? Okay, so promotions are harder and harder to come by. Women who know how to stand out are advancing faster than ever. And when you get more senior, there's fewer and fewer layers of management. So visibility has never mattered more. And studies have shown that women outperform their peers, both male and female, when they lead with confidence. It makes them visible and memorable. And also, why it's so important for you to hear my message today is because one promotion that you secure this year has the ability to unlock upwards of $125,000 by 2030. And this is due to the compounding effect, which is super cool. So I want you to take a moment and really imagine for a moment if you could reclaim your confidence and momentum. How would that make you feel? How would that change the way you show up every day for work? How would that have an impact to the people you surround yourself with outside of work? And then imagine if you could wake up energized and inspired, not drained, from tossing and turning each night, losing precious sleep. And if you're anything like me, I do not operate well without a good night's sleep. And so then imagine you being the obvious choice for that next promotion. And you enter 2026 really proud of the bold moves you took in 2025 starting today. And the really cool thing about this is when your career shifts, so does everything else. When your work lights you up, it also lights things up outside of work and shines even brighter. And you stop spinning your wheels needlessly at work, and you stop carrying that home. And you find your spark, that fire, the desire inside of you that just lights you up. And that's when people around you start to notice too. And you have all of that without pretending to be someone you're not, without burning yourself out with do more and prove more tactics, without getting stuck in the endless cycle of overthinking and self doubt, without feeling like you're isolated and doing it all alone, without losing valuable time spinning your wheels while others are moving ahead, and certainly without shrinking yourself just to fit someone else's version of success. So, our goal today is really quite simple to put you back in control of your career growth so you rise faster, feel recognized, and make upwards of 125,000 by 2030. Let's dive in. I wanted to start with a little bit of my backstory. For you that don't know me, I'm Michelle Morgan, and I worked in healthcare advertising and marketing in New York City for over 20 years. And the last part of that was really me immersing myself in mindfulness and energy work and really a lot of personal development. And I kind of kept this a secret from the people in the corporate world, and I use this as my secret edge, enabling me to be a better leader, to show up more clearly and presently for my team and my clients. And so on paper, I was doing really well. I was leading teams, winning clients, winning new business, hitting every goal. But inside, I started to feel drained and uninspired and undervalued and frustrated. And that was when self-doubt crept in. I started second guessing everything, which was really foreign to me because I don't typically second guess anything. And I started asking myself, is this really what I want to be doing with my life? And then it became more and more clear. And I remember the moment like it was yesterday. I received a bonus check after exceeding every benchmark that was set for me. And the recognition felt really good. But the promotion and the title that I wanted never really came. And I told myself, be grateful, Michelle. It's COVID. You have flexibility to work remote. In fact, I was able to move to another state during this time. I had a really good salary. I had engaging clients. I had a really great team that I had built. But that gratitude turned into frustration because it was really frustration with myself because I wasn't advocating for myself, for what I really wanted. I wanted that title. I wanted the promotion. And my role kept shifting under new bosses, but no matter how much I gave, the promotion just never came. And so there came a point when I had to make a choice. Either stay comfortable, keep the paycheck, tolerate the negative and not so nice emotions I was feeling, and really push down and ignore that inner voice, or risk it all. Not just the job, but the version of me I had built for over 20 years and was really proud of. And I had to evaluate what was the biggest or bigger risk. And for me, it was staying small, being unseen, unfulfilled, undervalued, and feeling like my light was being dimmed. And what I feared most was that if I allowed that to happen, would I be able to get it back? So I didn't just pivot, I leapt. And, the decision wasn't because I was going through a midlife crisis or, ego driven because I didn't get the promotion. It was really deeply grounded in the inner knowing of what my potential was. So fast away. And I get the opportunity to coach female executives that are being overlooked for a promotion, but they are ready to become the obvious choice. I'm essentially the coach I wish I had back then when I needed it. And now I feel joyful. I feel free. I feel energized. I feel creative. More me than I've felt in years. Really thriving by simply just being myself. And I was able to achieve this even though I didn't leave with a perfect plan. In fact, I had no plan when I left my job. And I really had to start over and carve a new path. And I didn't know anyone doing what I wanted to do. I didn't have a good role model at that time. And I had doubts and fears and messy pivots all along the way. But still, I was able to reignite that spark, that desire, that fire within me and build my business and do what lights me up every single day. And that energy really creates a positive ripple effect that my clients get the benefit of enjoying. So, with that, how would you feel if you were two levels up and $200,000 ahead by 2030? How would your life change? I want you to just take a moment and think about that. What would that extra money allow you to do? That's kind of surface level, but how would it make you feel? Would it make you feel that you were really appreciated, that you were valued, that someone saw your strengths and your contributions? Gives you a sense of pride, right? So I think it's really important to just kind of set the stage here and clarify, who's right for this masterclass, who's right for my coaching program. So you're in the wrong place if you're looking for a quick fix without doing the inner or outer work. Coaching is very much a collaborative process. It's not just me waving a magic wand and everything happens. It takes work on your part too. A lot of that is exploring, what's in your control, what's not in your control, and really diving deep to like, what is it that you really want? Those are really important decisions and discoveries that we'll get to do together. It's not an overnight hack. That's not what I sell in my program. I'm really in it to create long lasting change for you because my goal for you is that we work together to secure that promotion. And then you're able to really change how you operate moving forward. So those promotions keep on coming. So you're also in the wrong place if you're comfortable waiting for someone else to hand you the opportunities. Because the women I choose to work with in my coaching programs are women that are driven. They're tired of waiting. They're tired of being overlooked. They don't want to wait for someone else to hand them an opportunity. Okay? And you're also in the wrong place if you'd rather keep playing small than risk being fully seen. Because, showing yourself authentically in a big way can be scary. You start to think like, will people accept me? Um, there's all of these emotions, but we work through that together. But if you want to just play small, then this program's not for you. And there's a lot of coaches out there. And what other career coaches might tell you what to do in terms of like how to reignite your career spark is maybe journal, create a vision board, do some reflection, and that clarity will simply come to you through this. Or prototyping what the next step is, but really keeping it safe and taking your time with the process. Or maybe it's you that you really need to find your passion and everything else will fall into place and just click and work. Or maybe it's that you should tweak your current role to reignite your fulfillment because that's what you really need. But this doesn't work. And why it doesn't work is because all of that reflection without action just collects dust. It just sits there, it stalls. And playing safe now means you're missing out on opportunities for that promotion in 2026. So you need to move and take action now, not wait. And passion is important. Don't get me wrong. But if that passion and fire and desire isn't visible to others, it just keeps you invisible. And finally, tinkering in a misaligned role just really prolongs your frustration. And, you know, these tactics, there's a problem with them because it prolongs this. And why it doesn't work is because all of that reflection that you're doing without action just collects dust. And playing it safe now means you're missing really important opportunities in 2026. So the goal is that you need to take action now so you lay the framework and foundation for that promotion in 2026. Okay. And then passion is really important. Don't get me wrong. I believe in having that inner fire, that desire, that passion for what you do. But if it's not visible to others, it just keeps you invisible. And finally, tinkering in a misaligned role, it just prolongs your frustration. Because these approaches keep women circling in the same frustration loop. I know because I've been there. They're not designed for someone who's ready to be seen, to be ready to be the obvious choice for that next promotion. You don't need tinkering. You need bold, visible moves, and you need them now. So let's talk about what actually works to make you the obvious choice for a promotion. I've broken this down into 4 simple steps. Claim your spotlight, break the invisible patterns, protect your power, move first, and pivot fast. Let's walk through them. The first one, claim your spotlight. A common trap is keeping quiet and hoping that others will notice. Your boss, senior leadership. This feels safe, but it's really a promotion killer. Because saying yes to everything makes you dependable, not visible. And letting your manager decide when it's your turn for a promotion, it really shrinks you and keeps you stuck in a place that you don't want to be. So, what we need to do is we need to shift that. So, when you speak up about what you want, what you truly, really want, people know how to back you, they know how to support you, and they want to help you. And showing your ambition doesn't push people away, it actually pulls the right people into you. Because women who own their value, they don't just get promoted, they get a seat at the table where the real decisions happen. And that's where you want to be. So let's go into the second one. breaking the invisible patterns. So the trap here is that more hours equal more impact. Who's thought of that? I mean, been in that situation? I know I certainly have in parts of my career. But again, saying yes to everything makes you dependable, not promotable. And that exhaustion doesn't get you seen. It just really makes you disappear faster. So what we need to do here is audit your habits and the patterns, not your calendar. Okay, we need to look at where are you overthinking things? Where are you shrinking yourself and your confidence? And where are you waiting for permission that you don't need to? And we need to trade the people pleasing for power plays, ensuring that you're speaking up at the right times, that you know how to effectively spotlight and promote the results you're bringing. And we want to make your value obvious and undeniable. And the moment you swap all of that effort, all the doing for your visibility, that's when your confidence spikes. That's when your influence grows and you become impossible to ignore. So the next one is protecting your power. The trap here is that you treat exhaustion like proof of commitment or, that badge of honor. You think running on fumes means you're dedicated, that people will think you're loyal and that you should be rewarded, but you're not. Because burnout keeps you hidden in plain sight. And the shift here is an important one because you want to make sure your energy is the loudest presence in the room, and you need to protect that. And this is really important. Having the loudest presence doesn't mean the same as having the loudest voice. Okay. And so there is a nuance here that is super important. And what we need to do to get you there is we need to look at what is draining your energy, and we need to cut those things out. And then we need to look at what are things that really fuel your energy, and we bring more of that in. And we do that by looking at what are the boundaries? What are the boundaries that you currently have that are maybe a little loose? Where are some boundaries that we need to tighten up and maybe set? And then what are some areas that are blocking your high energy moments? And then this is really important too. We need to find and discover when do you need time to really rest and recover? Because when your energy returns in a big way, your presence really sharpens. And that's what gets you seen. So the fourth one is move first, pivot fast. And the trap here is perfectionism. Oh boy, this is a big one. Um, perfection looks powerful, but it's just fear in disguise. It convinces you to over-polish, overthink, over-prepare. You look really busy, but you're really stuck standing still. I always think of this as being stuck in that hamster wheel. You're doing, going through, executing, 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 and you're not really making any forward momentum. Okay, so the shift that we need to make here is make sure that it is very crystal clear in your mind that progress, that forward momentum beats perfectionism every time. Excuse me. The final one is move first and pivot fast. And the trap here is a big one. It's perfectionism. I know I suffer from this. But perfection looks powerful, but it's just fear in disguise. It convinces you to over polish, overthink, over prepare. You look super busy, but you're really just stuck standing still. It's like you're in a hamster wheel. You're going, 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 and not going anywhere. So, what we need to do here is shift the thinking, the new perspective that progress and momentum beats perfectionism every single time. And the visibility that comes from making bold moves, not polished decks, it's that imperfect action that gets you noticed. It's the bold move is what unlocks the promotion. And this approach this approach worked for me personally, and it also has been delivering for my clients. So there's a lot of words on this slide. I'm going to break it down for you in a little bit more detail here, or craft a story for you, if you will. So Daniela is somebody who came to me after being laid off for over 4 months. And she found herself really drained from the constant rejections. And what she was doing is she was overfunctioning. She was spending so much time and effort and energy in preparing for these interviews only to, be overlooked and glossed over. And so she really needed to start doing something different. And that's when she came to me. And we started looking at how can we build her confidence because being laid off can shatter or, really mess with your confidence. So we needed to make sure that she was making choices for the right reasons, right? Kind of defining success and what that was going to be on her terms. And she was able to also look at her strengths that she might have been like kind of pushing down and not bubbling up to the surface, similar to what I had as that like secret edge, right? I didn't really share a lot of that, but it was probably what made me a great leader. So recognizing what are those unique strengths that she had, and then we bubbled them up to the surface. And so then fast forward, she was able to strike the right balance of being comfortable with the type of work she did to prepare for the interviews, but then also take time to nurture herself, give her a little self-care, and get her in a high energetic state for when she got on those interviews. And so with that, she was able to pull in two options. And her number one choice was a little slower in the interview process. And so she was able to, with this new confidence, let that other company know I've got another offer on the table and I really want to work with you and your company, but I'm wondering if there's something, to flex here. And so they were able to speed up the hiring process, lock her in, and she started last week. I'm so excited. We're actually done with our coaching program, so I couldn't be more delighted. Another story is Lucy, who she's in my current one of my current programs, and she came to me feeling really invisible at work. Um, and that she lost her spark. She knew she had it in her. She was convinced she had it in her, but she just didn't know how to bring it back. And through some initial working, sessions, we realized that that was really grounded in the fact that she was being overlooked for a promotion. And that was also had a lot to do with her confidence. It was a slow part of the season. So she was kind of getting bored, uninspired. Um, and losing momentum. And so we needed to change that all. And one of the things that we found was that she was really shrinking her own confidence and who she was and how she showed up every day by, giving her peer the nickname of office rock star. Every time she would say that, I would see her just kind of shrink a little bit more. So we shifted that. We changed that. We looked at what are her clients, what are her other peers kind of coming to her for? And it was really this role of being a trusted advisor. She had been in the industry for a number of years, and she was really good at partnering and creating collaborations and really um, delivering to her clients in a way that no one else has. So being able to really leverage those and elevate those gave her more confidence. And as I had mentioned, she's still in my program, but I do feel like she is well positioned to be promotion ready. Okay, the final one. Is Christy. This one's a really cool one because Christy was one of my clients when I was in healthcare, marketing and advertising. And she decided she wanted to work with me in this coaching realm because she felt comfortable with me. She knew um, what I was about. And she really had been resonating with a lot of my posts. And she knew I was the person to help her through this. And so, what she was frustrated by was that she was really happy in the company that she was at. And, but she was kind of getting uninspired by her current role. And she wanted to change departments um, for more growth opportunities, really. And but she didn't want to take a pay cut. And she had some hesitancy and some lack of confidence wrapped up in that because it was a stretch role, absolutely. But she was overlooking the skills and strengths that she had from her initial job and how that would translate and carry over and provide value and contributions to her new team. So we really worked on her stories, and they work with Star Stories with that company. So we worked on telling those and building her confidence and reassurance of who she was and how she was going to show up. And that very much paid off. She landed a new role without taking a salary cut. It was a parallel move, and she has a great boss. Um, and she even negotiated a relocation support package, which was super key. And she walked away feeling energized and excited about her growth in this company. And while that program was over, she's re-enrolled in another one because now that she's at this new level where she feels really comfortable, she's now got her sights on that upward mobility. So she's looking at increasing and enhancing her leadership skills so she can be considered for promotion. Super excited for her in that. And, all of these stories make up what the Spark coaching program is. It's that path to becoming the obvious first choice, for a promotion, for that role, without burning out and without pretending to be someone you're not. So let me walk you through how you will feel. What are the components of the Spark program? First, you're going to reconnect with your direction. without the guilt, without the guilt of saying, is it okay if, I have all of this amazing stuff. Can I want more? Yes, you can. So we're going to remove that guilt. Um, and we're also going to remove that tendency to second guess and really tap into our inner wisdom, our intuition. Okay. And next, we're going to reclaim your energy. Yeah, in a big way. And that's going to be like where your confidence really shows up. So you are seen, you are heard, and you are promoted. Okay. And next, we're going to redefine what career success means on your terms. For so long, we've been told what success means. But it's time we take a moment and pause and redefine that for us. Create a deeper why of why that's important, that we hit these milestones. And then finally, you're going to get the opportunity to really rise. And this is with accountability, the right strategy, and the right community behind you. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail of what your next 90 days within the Spark program could look like. Okay, it'll be 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching with me. And this is where we're going to really dive deep. Okay, we're going to get crystal clear on what it is you want and also that personalized strategy of how we're going to get it. There's no cookie cutter approach here. Okay, and then next, we're going to have 6 weeks of small group coaching. And this is where you're going to really embrace the community efforts and feelings. And they're going to help you stay accountable. And it's also that feeling of, not being in it alone. You are surrounded by other powerful women that are on a similar journey. And bringing you all together in a group is really a powerful opportunity to help each other rise together. Okay. And then also included is you would have 12 weeks in this Spark virtual community where there are uplifting messages, inspiration, opportunities to help keep each other accountable, and sometimes just even the act of saying things out loud in a supportive community can be really, really powerful. And of course, there's the frameworks and the workshops or worksheets to help you guide you on your journey. So you get all of this plus something super special that I'm adding exclusively for people in the Spark program. And that's access to the Grow and Glow series. This is what I spoke about, like my secret edge of how I showed up differently in my career. I'm providing the same tools for you here, and it's the secret edge within the Spark program. So this isn't just a bonus. This is a real game changer because, most coaches stop at the strategy, and that's where I go further. And the Grow and Glow really layers in the energetic and intuitive tools that anchor the shifts at a deeper level. Because remember, I'm not in it for, short-term hacks. I'm in it for the long-term sustainable change that will help sustain you through your career. Okay. And then that and this is really, where most coaching programs maybe miss the mark a little bit without this added layer, because you can't just think your way into a new level. You have to embody it. And that's what really made me successful throughout my career is that I have this very logic, business minded capacity, but I also have this capacity to bring in this more intuitive, energetic side. So that's something super special and that you will see a huge benefit from. Um, and that's why I created this Grow and Glow series because it's where we bring the tools that helped me have an edge and break through faster in my career. And now I get to share it with you, which I'm super excited about. So, the reason why this is so exciting is because most executives don't have access to this type of work. So we have Pippa, who is an intuitive guide who will help you access that higher wisdom, your intuition, and help you manifest the career that you've dreamed of, that one that seems a little far away, a little scary. She's going to help us with that. And then we have Lucy, who is such a joy. She's able to infuse movement, affirmations, and meditation to really ground us in our confidence. And this is in our mind and in our body and in our voice, which allows us to be more visible. And finally, Ali, who is going to give us an immersive sound treatment, which is really something to allow our perspectives to widen, to increase our creativity, to really sharpen those decision-making skills so we can problem solve on the dime. And a really wonderful component of this is the part of emotional regulation. So throughout our careers, there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of stress going on in the world, okay? But being able to regulate the emotions, and this isn't dulling them, it's just being able to kind of call out, is this emotion that is something that's working for me or against me? And being able to get in the present moment helps us do that. And that's what Ali is going to do for us. And so these programs will happen monthly in your in the Spark program. And because of that, because I know this works, because it's worked for me and I've seen the transformation in my clients, that is why I have the confidence of providing a guarantee. This is something very rare. You hardly ever hear this with coaches. But my guarantee is if you fully participate in the Spark program, and after 90 days, you don't feel noticeably more confident, more energized, and better positioned for that next promotion, I'll keep working with you one on one at no extra charge until you do. And the really cool thing